Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Look at the state of my hair. I hope everybody is well. I'll be honest, from the get-go, when I set this show, I was so infused that something might have changed, that we finally might be able to get this drama saga over the line. And we're sitting here at 10 past 10 at night, and still it just seems like one big ball of nonsense, doesn't it? Between them, Parish and Levy just cannot get a deal done. Now, look, what we're hearing tonight, and again, it's up to you what you believe. I'm not saying I believe this. What we're hearing tonight is that Parish has changed the metrics of the deal again and is adding more bonuses on. And apparently Levy is very, very upset by this. Some suggesting he might walk away. Now, I'm not sure I believe that, because at this stage, I mean, we've gone this far, but it really, really is. It really, really is crazy, isn't it? It really, really is crazy. We've been hearing for days and days and days and days that it's this close, it's this close, it's this close, it's this close. And it seems that there's always an issue. I genuinely don't know. And I'm not blaming Spurs. I'm not blaming Levy. I'm not blaming Spurs. So I'll just wait and see if anyone's got any news. I'm not blaming Spurs and Levy, but I genuinely feel like the word Spursy was invented for a reason. When people go, oh, don't use the word Spursy, whether it's us or not, we're just involved in these Spursy type deals, aren't we? This is the second deal this summer that is starting to look like a bit of a calamity. Now, I'm not saying that a deal won't be getting done. I'm not saying that. I know what you know. But how can it take so long? How can it take so long? As I said time and time again, we're not signing someone for £90 million from Real Madrid or Man United or Barcelona. This is the deal between Tottenham Hotspur and Crystal Palace, and it just feels that whoever is messing this up, and we're hearing it's Parish, but again, we heard a lot of things about the whole Marinakis Levy situation that who knows, and it just feels tedious, and it's just getting to the stage where I really, really want Eze, right? I really want Eze, but a bit of the sting is being taken away from this. Look, we had all the reports earlier that a deal had been agreed, and again, that's now made in principle, which looks a bit silly on the part of Ben Jacobs, etc., etc., etc. But hey, it is what it is. And then this evening, Fabrizio Romano has said, what's Fabrizio Romano said? I don't know if he actually posted it or whether I saw it from one of his videos. I believe that Fabrizio Romano was saying that, where is it? Hang on, let me see. I'm pretty sure I did see him post something. I think Fabrizio Romano turned around and said hang on, I'm going to find it because I know I've got it here somewhere. And I want to make sure I get this right. Fabrizio Romano said, no, that's a fake one. He said it's about details, small tweaks, but I expect the here we go to arrive soon for Eberici Eze. When you just think to yourself, oh my gosh, how many tweaks, how many small details? How has it possibly changed this much? How has it possibly taken this long? And then you ask yourselves, the question, don't you? Gibbs White, now this deal, the Savio deal, like it just feels like, and I understand that some deals are easier to do than others, but it just feels like every deal we're involved in seems to have a huge issue to it. Now, you know, so negative and very time. I don't know what that means. Tequila said, Savio, you're not bored of doing this other stuff. Like, I know you need to do content, as do for my channel, but just never ends. Of course I'm bored of it. Tequila, of course I'm bored of it. What can we do though? When you are a content creator, what can you do? You can only report on the news that you've got. Yeah, of course. I think it's taken a bit of shine off the deal at the moment. I think, listen, I'm not, as I said, I keep saying, I'm not blaming Levy. I'm not blaming Levy, but every day it seems to become a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And then today, I'll be honest, you know, when we say, when we got the news earlier today that a deal had been agreed in principle, you're thinking, oh, there we go. Here we go very soon. You know, deal agreed very soon. And we're sitting here again. Another evening is coming. Maybe it's going to be going as well, unless you get the here we go in the next hour or so. But right now, it's just really, really hard, isn't it, to keep it going. Now, listen, if this all changes, if we suddenly get the here we go, we'll all go, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But right now, I'm looking at Spurs and thinking there's still a lot of work to do in this window. Yeah, and again, still a lot of work to do in this window. A lot of work. A lot of work to do in this window. We need a playmaker. I feel we need a left-sided player or another person within that attacking trio. I feel we need somebody else. And at the moment, we're struggling to get the one done with a club in London who, you know, which is 55 to 60 million. We'll see. We'll see. And I'm interested to know from you, like, how you're feeling. Is everyone bored, frustrated, calm? I put a poll in the chat to see, you know, I said, has this Eze Saga soured the signing for you? And you know, we're nearly at 450 votes, and you know, 34% said yes, 33% said no, a little bit 27%, and completely 7%. So over 65% of people are in some way frustrated. And it's the life as a Spurs fan, right? It is the life of a Spurs fan. We're seeing tonight, again, that Rodrigo got no minutes for Real Madrid. And why is that important for this chat? Well, apparently Rodrigo might be going to Man City. And if he goes to Man City, then Savio still could come to Spurs. And if Savio comes to Spurs, then that means that Real Madrid need to buy someone, and yada, 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 yada. We're hearing, you know, earlier on today, it was that the Savio deal was completely off. Nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. Romano said tonight that it still could, but it's very complicated. Is that to do with Rodrigo? I don't know. I'm just here reading the same things you are, and I'm just giving you a platform to vent, I suppose. I'm venting on my platform, and I'm giving you a platform in the chat to vent. But I mean, again, when you hear people say patience, it's kind of like, well, yeah, but I mean, you know, there's 13 days of the transfer window. We've got more to do. So we haven't, you know, when we talk about patience, I don't think it's fair to say to Spurs fans about patience. I think that Spurs fans have a tremendous amount of patience for how bad we are in transfer windows. So I don't think that's very fair when people say that. I really, really don't. I won't tell anyone to be patient. I will say my piece if I think that I think the Savio deal is a very difficult deal to do. I just cannot believe that the Eze deal is this complicated. I really, really can't. But what we will need to see, said this all along, more so, I think the Eze deal will get done, but more so, I've got Stanley hairs on my microphone. More so, if the Savio deal was to fall apart. I say fall apart. I mean, it's never really been on. Let's get that out there, right? By the way, Reese, I've read about 8 of these from you. Please stop. Reese, please stop. Please stop. I'm not buying it. You've been telling me lies for weeks. My mate said this. None of it's come true. Please stop. I genuinely don't care. The big tell for me here, not Matisse tell, the big tell for me is going to be if we can't get a deal for Savio done. I get it. Some deals you can't get done. You don't go into every deal knowing that you're going to get it done. The big thing for me, and I'm trying to be level-headed about this, is cool. What's next? Where's the next moving piece? Where's the next moving piece? 1 second. Where's the next moving piece? If it's not going to be Savio, okay. If it's not going to be Savio, fine. Where are we going next? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. If we can't get it done, fine. But what are we doing? What are we doing? Got to be another option. Is it an Akalouche? I don't know. Lookman. I don't know who. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But where is it going to be? Because what the Spurs fans will not be happy with, what they will not be happy with is if we go, right, well, hang on. We had 70 million to bid for Savio and we didn't buy anybody in that mold. And what I don't want to hear from the same people, what I don't want to hear is, but we tried. I don't want to hear it. This window, I don't want to hear, but we tried. I really don't. You've had all summer. All summer. Now, I'm not saying the deals won't get done, but I'm talking about in 13 days' time. Let's be fair. We've got 13 days. 13 days, less than 13 days now, if I'm not wrong. 13 days of a transfer window to go. We've left it late. Now clubs know that you're desperate. So I'm asking, have we been, and I don't know, I'm just asking a question, have we been working in the background? Have we been working in the background on others? I didn't say I know Eze's camp at all. I didn't say I know Eze's camp. Reese, don't lie. I didn't say I know Eze's camp. Please don't pretend I've said that. Are they right now, knowing that this is going to be a tough deal with Savio, are they talking to other players? And again, fill in the blank of whoever you think said player is going to be. But have they? Have they been talking to people? Are we right now talking to 2 or 3 different options? Or are we talking to Savio and then we're going to wait for that to break down completely with a week to go and then we panic? Then we panic. Then we go and bring in somebody that we don't really need. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Tequila said, should these deals not happen, who would you go for instead? I do realize it would be well, this is the problem. Listen, big up to you, Tequila. I hope you're well. Look, when we ask these questions with 13 days of the transfer window left, it doesn't leave you as many options as that have been there all summer. I'm in group chats with fans that don't want Akalouche or Aklouishi. I'm not sure how to say his name, but I'm in group chats with people that don't want him. I'm really, I'm confused about the club I support. I'm confused about everything that's going on. Nigel Morris said these shows can be an hour or shorter if you stop repeating yourself. Thanks, Nigel, for telling me how to run my business. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Nigel, how about you go fuck yourself? There you go. Good evening, Nigel. Go fuck yourself. There you go. I said it. I've got no time. I don't come to any of your places of work and tell you what to do I? Just so you know. I've got no tolerance for dickheads. This is a no dickhead policy. People like Nige want to be here, go fuck yourself. There you go. Sorry if that offends anyone. I don't turn up to anyone else's place of work and tell them how they should work, how long they should work for. All right. I don't think people understand. Let me just make it very clear for people that don't understand how content creation works. Yes. If you do not make content, you do not make money. I don't understand how people don't get it. So, hey, it is what it is. Anyway, hopefully that guy just whittles off into the sun. Listen, Don Dada again. Another one. Another one. Stop telling me how to run my channel. It's all fine. Stop telling me. When people tell me how to run my channel, the reason it grows, right? The reason it grows is because I run it how I run it. Okay. Just stop worrying. Let me do what I do. All right. Let me do what I do. All right. So listen, that's the question for me. That's the question for me. Are we talking to people now? It could be one of those, right? It could be one of those that tomorrow we wake up and Spurs are in talks with XYZ. I don't know. And we all go, oh, we didn't see that coming. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But right now, the only two solid links we've got are Savio and Eze. And if you get them both, absolutely brilliant. If you get them both, you know what you're doing. Okay? If you don't get them both, it's going to look like Spurs have had an absolute mare. Adam, some might think that trolls are helpful sometimes. Just saying. Just saying. And Levy and Enoch and Lang and Paratics, they're all going to have to take that on the chest. If they don't get it done, I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying they won't. But if they don't, big up, David. Thank you, mate. Sorry, this one confused me. Sorry. I'm a bit in the fog regarding Savio. The guy wants regular starter. Will he get that with us? Assuming Kudus keeps top form. What do you mean? Savio walks into our team with one leg and one eye. Mate, he'd go straight onto our left wing. I don't know why you think he wouldn't get that game time with us. He walks into our team. He walks into our team, my man. Sure. You do realize he is a left winger by trade, right? You do realize he's a left winger by trade. Ed has said Paris is a nightmare to deal with. Palace have only sold two players for over 10 million in the last 4 years. Anderson and Elise. Chelsea didn't get Elise when they met the release clause. He also struggling to leave. Listen, I've got no doubt that Parish is a pain in the arse. But when going into these negotiations, big up Stel, when going into these negotiations, Ed, if we know Man City are going to be tough to deal with, if we know that Steve Parish is going to be a pain in the arse to deal with, can I suggest maybe we go a bit earlier in the window? Maybe I'm just spitballing. Maybe we go a bit earlier to give yourself a bit more time rather than us fans sitting here with 13 days shitting our pants as to what we're doing in the transfer window. Still, welcome. Good evening. How you doing?
Yeah, good evening. What a joy it is to support Tottenham in the transfer window. It's always drama.
It's draining. Isn't the word I use is draining. It's really draining. Like even today, when we thought that we'd agreed a deal in principle, I was like, "Oh, we've done it." And then 2 hours later, no, not quite. There's a few more. We got some tweaks still. Your mate Romano, I know how much you like Romano. Some tweaks coming. I mean, how long does it take, right?
It's draining for you because you do YouTube every day, right?
Yeah.
For me, doesn't affect me one bit. Do YouTube once in a while now, so it's not so consuming. For a lot of fans, it's draining because they're just sitting on the internet all day, looking at Twitter, watching YouTube, and just grabbing whatever information they can. But I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it again: until the player's wearing the shirt, everything means nothing to me. Until the player is wearing that Spurs shirt, I don't buy into any of it. And I just really dislike the journalists and the ITKs because they're not what they claim to be, Sav. And we were saying this last night on the show. They contradict each other. One says one thing, the other says something different. Earlier on, deal agreed, verbal agreement in place. Paratici's helping Crystal Palace find the replacement. You're hearing all this, and then literally 3 hours ago on Sky Sports, there was a 1 hour video put out on transfers, and most of the video is how that there isn't a deal agreed with Spurs yet. There is not a deal agreed. So either Sky Sports are liars, or Ben Jacobs a liar, or Ornstein, or Romano, or whoever it is, are manipulators. I just find it really, really, really disrespectful to football fans to be constantly misled. But look, fans lap it up and they jump on it, Sava. So I think we're trying to get Eze, but is there a deal in place? Is it agreed? Is it ready to? No, I don't believe any of it, because if that was the case, he'd be having a medical at Tottenham Hotspur. We're a massive football club. We ain't got time to piss around with this. We can't get mugged off twice. Well, we can with Spurs, but imagine being mugged off twice in one window. It's just unthinkable. So what I do agree with you, though, this should have been done much earlier on in the window. And people that say, "I'll give Levy a chance, wait to the end of the window," bollocks, absolute bollocks. Get your business done early. So if there is a problem, the season hasn't already started, you can try and get over those hurdles before the season starts. So, that's it. We've done our business. Now, if you're Parish, the chairman of Crystal Palace, you're thinking, do you know what? I've got them where I want. They've lost Maddison. They're desperate for a playmaker. They fucked it up with Gibbs White. Where are they going to go after Eze? I've got them where I want. I hold all the cards. I call all the shots. Eze's not kicking up a fuss. He's still turning up to training, still playing for us when asked. He's not gone on strike. He hasn't put a transfer request. I'm in control. Parish is doing to Levy what Levy does to every other club. And whether we like it or not, they've got us by the balls with this deal. So either we walk away, or we've got to give Parish and Palace what they want, but not to the point of where it's just a ridiculous deal and we end up paying 90 million. So I think Crystal Palace are just playing hardball, and all the journalists and all the ITKs, they haven't got a fucking clue what's really going on. All they know is we're trying to buy Eze. So we should have done this earlier, man. And this is what happens. And Parish is going to drag this out because the more it drags out, the more we sweat, the more the pressure grows, and the more we become desperate. So, and let's say we do pull away from the deal, God forbid, but let's say we do. Well, how long's left to get the next choice in? Hardly any time at all. So they know we're desperate, Sava. They know we're desperate. I think that's what it is, and they're just playing hardball with us.
Yeah, listen. I listen, for what it's worth, I've got no doubt that we do get the deal done. That's not my problem.
I hope so.
My problem isn't that we. Sorry, is this Tottenham? Isn't my worry with the Eze one isn't that we get it done. It's more for the fact for me is that whilst all of this energy is being taken up, I'm not saying by the club, because you would like to think they've got multiple people all over the place. But while this energy is being taken up by all of us for Eze, still a lot that needs to be done. There's still a minimum of one more, as we keep talking about on the show, a minimum of one more this window, but of a quality player still. It can't be, oh, we tried, so we didn't get that, so we went and signed some 19-year-old kid instead. It can't be that, in my opinion. No more kids. It can't be that.
No, it can't be. Look, Kudus, proven adult football player. We saw what he can do. We saw what happens when you sign a proven, established adult football player. Kudus was hands down, head and shoulders, the best player on the pitch. If you want to argue that Richarlison was, fine. Another adult, experienced pro. We can't do the kids. The adults, the ones with pedigree and experience of quality are showing what the difference is. And they are the ones that are standing out, not the kids. So we can't, look, no more kids. The kids we've got now, just develop them, work with them. We need to be signing the Ezes, the Savio, the Savinos, the Paulinias, the Kudus. This is what we wanted. This is what we've asked for as Spurs fans for years. So, yeah, I agree with you. No more kids. No more.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I get it, right? Listen, earlier on, I was very happy and was like, "Yes, oh my God, what's happening? Time to be happy." But time and time again, I just feel myself naturally in my mind going back to the number of days that we've got left. And we are at the stage now still, there's 13 days. If I'm not wrong, there's 13 days of the window to go. And whether it's Savio, whether it's somebody else senior, clubs are going to now know, right, that you've got to do things you don't normally want to do. What I mean is, you're going to have to offer more money. You're going to have to do add-ons that you don't want to do. And this is why I think some of the bigger clubs, they go early in the window, don't they? City went early with signings. Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, they went early with signings. And now and now they look set. And Spurs are just not. And it's just, I want to be positive. I think you've seen still this went. I've tried so hard. I want to be positive. I want to go into the season feeling happy for one. And I'm just struggling right now to see what we're doing. Struggling.
Yeah, this is why I've stayed chilled with it all throughout. And I've just said, Frank gets a year. Not going to say too much until the window ends. Let's see how we go after 10 games. Just because there's so many variables and unknowns, and I've been here before so many times, Saga, in the past with every manager, same chairman, whatever. Not getting our business done early is always the big slap in the face for us. That's what always kills us, All right, we beat Burnley 3-0, good start, clean sheet. Right, it's Man City away next. The difference of going into that game with or without Eze is quite big. Because if we go into the Man City game with Eze, you've got a playmaker. You've got a set-piece taker. You've got someone that can cause problems. Without Eze, we saw on the weekend, we created nothing down the middle. The only time we created down the middle was when Richarlison dropped deep in the middle, won the ball, spun and laid it off to Saga. Otherwise, we weren't creating anything in the middle. So if you're Man City, you double up on Kudus. Right, now what have Tottenham got? Nothing. So going into the game with Eze is a big boost for us. Not going with him, it's backs to the wall, which is not really what we want to be doing. And this is why you've got to do your business early, I get like Sean Butler always defends this and says, look, judge it at the end of the window, which is fair enough. But if we don't beat City, then we play Bournemouth, who's a half-decent team, and, it's not quite like Burnley. Well, the transfer window's ended and you've played 3 games. That's 9 points up for grabs. So we need look, for me, we need to get Eze done before the weekend. Eze needs to be in a Spurs shirt for the Man City game. He has to be in a Spurs shirt for the Man City game for me. Otherwise,
between now and then, and bearing in mind it's Tuesday night, right? Bearing in mind we're basically a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Crystal Palace are playing in the Europa Conference League on Thursday night. And Glasner has already said that he wants Eze to be a part of that. And I'm guessing if a deal is not done, that he's got every right to want that, right? And I think Eze's professional enough that he will play. But then we definitely know if he plays Thursday night, that then he won't be able to play for Spurs on Saturday. Even if he signed on the Friday, it's not a quick enough turnaround. Before you know it, you're 2, 3, 4 games down and these new signings haven't played. It kind of defeats the point of having the whole summer to do it, doesn't it, at this stage?
Well, yeah, of course. This is it. Do you know, I think you hit the nail on the head. Consuming ourselves with this is preventing us from getting other business that still needs to be done. And that's the big worry now, that we end up consuming ourselves with Eze. It becomes the only talking point at Spurs. and all the other issues we've got just kind of become forgotten. We desperately need a left-sided player. We're crying out for a left-sided winger at this club. We probably need, in my opinion, a proper playmaker in that midfield, which we probably won't get. We still need cover in the wing backs, which, will we get them? I don't know, but we definitely need that left-sided attacker. And the more and more we spend with this Eze deal, the more and more we're just going to neglect other gaping holes in this team. Because let's have it right. Let's say we do sign Eze and it takes another 10 days and that's it. That's it. So it's Palhinha, Kudus and Eze. What happens if Eze gets injured? We're screwed. What happens if Kudus gets injured? We're back to square one. So it's not like just signing these players. That's it. We've arrived. No, we need a bit more. We still need a bit more. So,
see, I don't mind. I don't mind missing the Burnley game without an Eze. I mind. I think the fixture list was quite kind to us there.
Yeah, we did need him. But
then you've got 7 days between that and the next game, which is Man City away. Surely you would think as a club, and this isn't, by the way, this isn't about Eze per se. This is about all deals. You've got 7 days. Surely you're thinking, right, we've got a bit of grace here. We've got a little bit of grace. And we still don't look like we're making the most of it. Now, for all we know, I'll always caveat this. For all we know, we wake up tomorrow and Eze is a done deal. And by the way, people will go, this, that. I mean, bloody well, it should be done, right? It's taken long enough. But the big thing for me here in all of this is I don't want Eze to take so long that when it comes in, it distracts from what we've not done. I don't want it to be, well, the Eze deal took longer. Oh, sorry, we tried. So I'm really, I'll be honest, I don't mind admitting it. I'm at loggerheads in my head of how I feel about Spurs at the moment. I think we've done so much good this summer in terms of manager out, manager in. Paulinho, I think, was a really good bit of business. I think Kudus is. But it just feels at the moment, I hope I'm wrong. It feels at the moment that it's going to be a bit of an, we tried. And I can't deal with another we tried window. I can't deal with it.
If we have another window that ends up as we tried, then we are in for a pretty rough season ahead.
Oh, great.
Because not every week's going to be Burnley at home, and not every week's going to be one game at home, and that's it. Once the season properly starts and we've got Champions League, Carabao Cup, League, rotation, injuries, and the manager's got to deal with that. With the current squad as it is, you can bet Kudus is going to get run into the ground because he'll play him every week because he won't have a choice because there's nothing else creating anything on that pitch. So we can't have another we tried window because the season will be an absolute disaster. There's no doubt in my mind. I've seen enough from this team, this preseason and first game, to say we are 2 players maybe away from lacking a heck of a lot. 2 players make all the difference right now, I think. So,
for sure,
we need at least another 2 really good players, Savio. At least another 2.
And for me, I do like builders. I said the happy channel. I think we're frustrated. I speak for myself. I'm a frustrated.
I'm chilled. I'm just waiting.
When you're saying the happy channel, people like this, I don't think you understand. There's 13 days of the window left. We've got another game in 4 days. Like, don't fans like you, Cobra, don't you want to be going into Man City with Eze's, with just Savio's or whoever it's going to be? Aren't those the games? Aren't they the reason still why you buy the better players to help you in games such as that one? I'm not saying we can't win it without them, but that's why you buy better players, right?
Look, we had a 2-0 lead against PSG and we collapsed. Why? Right? We need players at this club. We need players that can come off the bench to make a difference. We need players in that starting 11 that make a difference and put us 4-0 up instead of 2-0 because they were there for the taking. But we didn't have the talent on the pitch to put the ball in the back of the net. You then look at the game against Newcastle. It was a pretty dull affair. Nothing really happened. 1-1. All right. We need those extra players to win those games. We need those extra players. Guys, we're in the Champions League this year, right? We're in the Champions League. It's going to be hard. We need talent because we're going to be up against talent. We've got to match it at least. And, you know, we've already seen this season. Look at Liverpool game 1. Mustard. Man United look much better. Arsenal didn't play well, still found a way to win. You know, the competition is going to be difficult this year. We had the easiest start. Out of all the big clubs, we had the easiest start. The relegation favourites and at home. We did what we had to do. We played well. We deserved the win. Clean sheet. Excellent. We need quality players, though, for this whole season. You know, let's say we go on a half-decent Champions League run, half-decent Carabao Cup run, FA Cup. We're looking at about 60, 65 games this season. That's a lot. That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games. But by the way, just I'm seeing people in the chat saying a few things. I've not blamed Daniel Levy. People are saying I've not blamed Daniel Levy for the Palace thing and the Eze thing. I've not said that at all. If anything, Stel will tell you, I'm in a WhatsApp group with Stel, will tell you that I am saying I don't believe this is Levy. I've said that I believe this is Parish. My frustration is not just the Eze deal, people. My frustration isn't just why isn't Eze in? My frustration is what else is going on. And I'm aware that because Lang works in the darkness and all that nonsense that we won't know. But it is frustrating when you know you're a Champions League team, you know you've got big games coming up. You want to know what's happening a little bit, right? That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think people might be just kidding themselves a little bit. You know, Dirty Cash in the chat. You're saying, did we not slap City without Eze last season? We had Maddison on the pitch who scored 2. We had Kulusevski who had 2 assists. Both are out. One's out for the whole season. One's out to November. So there's reasons why we beat Man City. We had some good players that are now not available. And this is the first year, I think in about 10 years, that we are playing Man City without Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. So this is a very, very difficult game coming up this weekend.
Doesn't mean it will happen this year. Like it's not a... It's completely different. It's a different manager. Man City have got a lot of new players. We've changed. It's, you know, for me, there's no correlation between the two. By the way, I've not said that we can't get anything from City. I've not said we can't. My point is,
it's a difficult game. It's a difficult game.
Of course it is. The point is, you want to be going into the big games with your new players. You don't want to turn around and go, oh, well, I've got Eze in and Savio, whoever, yada yada yada. And it's we've played Man City. We've played this. You want them in. I want them in for those games. You want to be going to Man City and Man City looking at us going, oh, hang on. I've got Eze. I've got Savio. They've got Kudus. They've got Paulie. You want them looking at us a little bit worried as well.
Sava, I think we can beat Man City, by the way, only because we're their bogey team. Only because I don't know what it is. I don't know. No club has got a better record against Man City's Pep Guardiola's Man City than Spurs. We have got the best record by any other team. So on that basis, fortune of luck and, you know, all the superstitions all the superstitious people out there, we can beat City based on that. But if we just look at the current squad and we look at their current squad at their ground, you're making them the favourites, aren't you? Right? You're making them the favourites, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not to say we can't get anything, but they're going to go in as the favourites. Let's see. Let me just see if I look on my app and see if I can find out exactly what the bookies make of this game. Right. So fixtures. So this week,
I don't think Man City will batter us, but I don't think Man City will batter us though. If they do win, I think we're going to be hard to break down. I think we're going to be a hard team for them to beat.
I don't know if anyone can see this. Can you all see the odds? What Spurs are? I don't know if that will zoom in enough.
It's too small.
Right. Basically, a Man City are anywhere between 1.40 and 1.50 to win the game with all the bookmakers. The lowest you can get Spurs is with Betway at 6-1. Right? And I'd make that right. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think we can get anything, but it's good. This is Man City. If Man City turn it on, this is going to be a very tough game. And all I'm saying is I just wish we were going into these games I just want to go into these games fully prepared. Dude, listen, sorry, just quickly. Dude, I didn't block you completely earlier on. I timed you out. I will block you. All right. There's no swings. It's not about Eze. You're not I'll tell you what, I am going to put him in a timeout. Sorry. He annoyed me earlier as well. Yeah, no, I can't do it. You've got these people that come into these shows and it's just like, I could say it's the 19th of August. They'll try and convince you it's the 25th. It's those sort of people. My top is blue with a white logo. Oh no, it's not. It's black. It's those sort of people that whatever you say, they've got to be different. And I've just got no time for that.
Let's have up with the Man City game. I think a fair look from my perspective. If we lost to Man City, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't mean Frank out, players are shit, meltdown. None of that, right? In my head, I'm kind of thinking we're going to lose narrowly. If we don't lose, brilliant. That's what I want. So if we lose, it's not the end of the world. What's annoying though is we didn't go into that game being able to give it a real crack because we had our business done and the manager had the tools to give it a real go, like a real good go. That's the frustrating thing. That's the thing that kind of frustrates me, that it's not the losing of the game. It's, did our manager have enough tools to really go up against one of the favourites to win the league this year? That's the kind of that's where I'm at with it, Saga.
No, I agree. And Rob, I completely agree as well. Listen, I won't be losing my mind if we lose to City. I do feel like, Rob, you understand a lot of people in the chat don't really listen. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying City will beat us. I'm sitting here saying I just want to go into those games giving the manager the best opportunity. When you've got Man City, the second game of the season away, and you've almost been given a pass in the first game without being rude to Burnley. You've almost got the game where you can say, oh, this is all right. I can put out a midfield of kids. You've given yourself an extra 7 days, Rob, right, to make those transfers happen. That's the frustrating thing, right, that we've given ourselves that time. As I've said, we might announce Eze tomorrow. And let's be fair. So if we remove all the hullabaloo around it, Spurs will want him signed tomorrow, so that he doesn't play Thursday night for Palace and so that he can be involved Saturday. I'm not blaming Spurs for this. If it is parish, it's parish. But that is surely what Spurs will be aiming for, right?
Yeah, and also we don't want to risk him getting injured. Every game he plays, It's a risk he gets injured. So
sure,
we want him protected from any potential injury. I think this is going to drag out. I think Parish is going to dig his heels in because he knows we're desperate, and he knows as well that he can get more out of this deal. There's more in this deal. Look, I'll be honest with you. When I heard 55 million plus 5 million add-ons, I thought that's a little bit cheap. I thought it'd be a lot more than that. So I didn't quite buy that when I heard it. It just seemed a bit below. When you see what other players are going for at the moment. You're talking about one of the best Premier League players in midfield. He's one of the standout players in the Premier League. Yeah, 55 mil seems 5 million more than Brennan Johnson. Really? I don't know. What did you think when you heard the price? Did you think, that's a pretty good deal for Spurs?
What, for Eze?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I think when you look at some of the crazy prices that players are going for, when you look at when you look at the crazy prices that players are going for, it seems like everybody now with 2 legs and a heart that beats, it sort of starts at 60 million. So when I saw the price tag come through that Spurs looked like we're going to get the deal done for 55 plus 5, I thought that's really good. And again, that's one of those moments where I actually said, fair play to Levy on that. If he's managed to get it for 8 million less than what the release clause was said to be. And also fair play to Levy because apparently, Connor will tell me if I'm wrong, apparently this deal is 30 million up front. Apparently this is half the deal up front. Half the 60 million is going to be in one payment. I don't know if that's true. If it is, I'm not blaming Levy with this. I think he's got a steal still. To answer your question, I think 55, 60 million for Eze is great business.
See, that right, exactly. It's great business for us, which is why I found it a very difficult thing to believe when it came out that this is what's been agreed. Because I'm thinking, if I'm the Crystal Palace chairman, I'm not selling him at that price. No way. And I did say on the Spurs 5, Crystal Palace are notorious for asking quite a big chunk of the money up front. When they had Zaha, Arsenal pulled out of the deal and they ended up with Pepe because Palace wanted a big chunk up front, whereas the Pepe deal, they structured it over 5 or 6 years. So Palace are notorious for this. So I actually believe that if we've paid 30 million up front in the agreement, I believe that. But I just don't believe Palace are going to sell for 55 mil. I think any club that owns Eze, you've got to be selling at least 70 mil. That's the price I would think he would go for. So depends who you believe.
Let me bring you in, Connor. Good evening, sir. After telling me that
mate, how are you?
Here you are.
Hi,
I know you're like all these ITKs. You just 1 minute one thing, 1 minute the next. Who knows? Connor, I'll start you off with this post from Lily White Sam. It said, "You guys are missing the point. Verbally agreed a deal. Palace want a replacement first before sanctioning the move." Isn't that the point, though, Connor, that if you do leave your business to now, this is what clubs will do to you? Hey, you can have him, but we've got to replace them. Earlier in the summer, clubs have got months to sort this out, right? That's my opinion. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is the debate I was having with Johnny around, the fact that this is all Parish's fault and no fault at all of Levy, which is, may well be the case on this specific deal. But I think you allow yourself to be opened up to that. It's Parish's prerogative because we've left it so late in the window to protect his position on what is their most prized asset at their football club. And so, we haven't given them a lot of time. I suspect what's actually happened is Gibbs White was our priority target. We then fucked around for too long and then decided, in the last week or so that we were going to make the move on Eze, which has, been too late, to be honest. And now we've given all of the leveraging power to Parish in this position. And I agree with, I just caught the end of Stell's point, which is, to me, to be fair, 55 plus 5 would be a sensational deal in terms of actual value when you compare that to what other players are going for. I mean, I can't see a world where Eze is not worth that. I actually thought that Eze was definitely worth his release clause for what it's worth, and that was 60 plus 8 add-ons, and it was mind-blowing to me that neither Tottenham nor Arsenal were looking to trigger that. So yeah, look, I think Tottenham have left themselves susceptible to this leveraging now by leaving it too late in the window. And so although it may be the case that Parish has been difficult, that's within his gift.
Isn't it the same, guys, when we look at Savio, if we're going to look at that deal as well, we're backed into a corner now where Man City have got such a huge squad. So Man City can lose him and still probably, just for me, still win the league. Right, I think they can. Or they could quite happily keep him because they don't need the money. But the point is still, right, if you leave it till this late in the window to start asking clubs how much they want for players, clubs are naturally going to put the price up because it is 2 weeks of the transfer window to go.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said it 15 minutes ago. They've got us by the balls. Parish knows he's got us by the short and curly whirlies. They have all the leverage. The only leverage we have is to say, see you later. And we walk out. And if we walk out, Eze's still at Crystal Palace. And in a year's time, he's only got 1 year left on his contract. And then potentially they're not getting as much money. But they get to keep their star boy. So that's the only power we've got. But if we walk away from this now, how's that going to go down with the fans?
That's why I don't think we will.
So and Parish might sense that, right? Parish, look, I think look, Parish is smart. Okay, he's just another version of Levy. They're cut from the same cloth, similar operators. He is doing to us what Levy would have done to him. and we're on the receiving end of it this time.
Sure. I don't doubt that at all. But by the way, sorry, my man again. So I've got when we're saying, well, we wanted Gibbs White, that deal scuppered, then we went back in for Eze. I tell you what, in between the Gibbs White deal falling apart and going back in for Eze was a cool 4 to 5 weeks. So just so you know, Connor, I know you saw this in the group earlier, 39 days since Spurs made a permanent signing. Just to let people know, the transfer window is open and Spurs have not made a permanent signing for 39 days. That's really worrying, isn't it? 39 days for a Champions League football club.
Yeah, it is, mate. And I mean, look, lots of our fans have been getting very giddy about the links that we've had with the likes of Eze and Savio. And look, I will be the first at the end of the window if we get those two over the line to give the Enoch some credit and Levy some credit to say that this has been our best window for some time. But as it stands, you know, they're not over the line yet. The season started to the point that you were discussing before. You know, there's 9 points potentially at jeopardy. Obviously, Burnley was fine, but you know, we've got City away. Bournemouth at home won't be as easy as Burnley at home was. And as always, you know, the thing is, I think we've been so conditioned now, and our fan base is just subject to this Stockholm syndrome that, you know, us actually acting like the football club we should be acting like by being linked to players like Eze and Savio, signing Kudus and Paulina is almost seen like some miracle that we should give the chairman credit for, when actually off the context of finishing 17th, getting the golden ticket of Champions League money, being the 9th richest club in the world, this is just the way we should be operating anyway, every window. And it's almost like, you know, we should be on our knees thanking Daniel Levy for finally delivering on that, even though he still hasn't yet. So it does make me laugh. But anyway, I'm trying not to be too negative because I am happy about the level of player. But it's,
mate, me too. And listen, I'm one of those people that said I will give Daniel Levy massive credit if he pulls off these big deals. I will. Doesn't mean I don't agree with what you've just said. Doesn't mean I don't agree that this is what transfer window should look like. I'm just a little bit concerned that you know, it's okay going for Savio's and it's good. I want to be linked with players like that. That's great. I love him as a player. But if you get to the end of the window and that defaults back to, well, we couldn't get Savio, so we went for, I don't know, insert underwhelming player that we could have got anyway if we weren't in Champions League football. That's the concern, because that will still be backed. And I'll be honest, I'm right on the knife edge of being a massive flip-flop. I'm fully aware of that, right, guys? If we're going to use that terminology. I want the window to be a massive success so we can turn around and go, this gives me hope. This gives me hope that you have learned after all these years. This gives me hope that there is something changing. However, he's 13 days away from me completely going, no, I gave you my stance. I softened. Still will tell you, I've softened my stance massively. I know we've not known each other as long, Connor. Still, wouldn't you? I think I've massively softened my stance the last 6 months, massively. But if he doesn't pull it out of the bag in the last 13 days, I don't know how I'll be able to possibly say, look, oh, sorry, poor Daniel Levy.
Let's have it right. This chairman always acts from a reactionary, not a proactive place. The only reason we're going after Eze is because Maddison's out for the season. If Maddison was fit and he was staying, we would not be in this Eze deal, in my opinion. We only go after players when we lose someone. The reason we've got Kudus is because we've lost Son. The reason we're going after what's his name, Eze, is because we've lost Maddison. We don't do things because we are proactive. Proactive. We do things out of reaction. Why did we bring in Vicario? Because we lost Lloris. Well, everything we do is because someone's gone. Oh, shit, we've got to fill that gap. We're not building. We're replacing, guys. This is what Levy does. And this is why we get ourselves into these situations where, is he coming? Is he not coming? Oh, I hope we get Eze. We really need him. All the season depends on Eze now. These are the things you've got to preempt, right? You've got to think in advance. What happens if Maddison gets injured? Wouldn't it be good to have two players in the 10 in case one of them is knackered and we need a sub to come on? These are the things a club is supposed to do. I don't want to talk about them because I can't stand it. But you look at Arsenal, they've got a lot of players that cover quite a few positions. All right, they've got an issue with the left-hand side of the pitch with Martinelli. But if Martinelli's injured, do you know what? They've still got Trossard. That's not bad. It's not a shabby player to bring on.
Or Madueke.
Or Madueke, he's all right. But if we lose Kudus, we're literally back to Brennan Johnson on the right. If we lose Maddison, there is nothing. We've got nothing. That's why we're going after Eze. So I think this is another factor why these situations are happening to us, where when you're a reactionary club, these are the consequences of being that type of club. But hopefully, look, we get Eze. Hopefully, he's wearing a Spurs shirt by the weekend, and we can spend the rest of the window focusing on bringing in a proper left-sided winger of Kudus's level, because then we might actually have a frightening attack for once. So we'll see.
Let me ask you then, Connor. In your opinion, is it inconceivable now that a deal doesn't get done for Eze? But last bit on Eze, is it inconceivable that a deal doesn't get done for Eze because of number of reasons? One, how far the deal is. Two, I think that Daniel Levy realizes that if he pulled away from this deal now, there would be absolute pandemonium in the fan base. So do you think it's inconceivable that it falls through?
It is, but it is inconceivable. But this is Tottenham, isn't it? I mean, we're if there's one club that sort of thing can happen to, it is us, because of the way that we operate. But yeah, look, I think all jokes aside, I do think Eze will happen. Whether that happens before the Man City game in time to register him and for him to play in the Man City game, who knows? I do think this one does seem like it's too far gone. Even the way that Eze sort of claps the Palace supporter, it seems like this one is going to happen. But look, when Sel was talking there, I was nodding because I agree with everything he said. We are so reactionary. He didn't use the Kinski example, but that's another one. That we only signed Kinski in January because Forster got injured, as well as Vicario already being injured. We could go through every window and you could pick out so many examples like that. And I think people like to use the argument, well, Arsenal didn't trigger the release clause on Eze either. But I think you've got to remember Arsenal in a slightly different position to us, whereby, they'd already signed Zubimendi. The striker was a real focus for them, so they went and got Gyökeres. Eze would have been a bit of a nice to have, to be honest, for them, and it would have been a good signing for them. But they've got two number 10s in Odegaard and now in Aeri already. He's not an out-and-out.
Oh, no, they've got a bit of squad as well. They've got a bit of squad.
And they've got a fixed squad. So they're in a different situation whereby, I don't think if Tottenham were a proactive football club, they would have just gone out and got Eze at the start of the window, because they would have said, look, this guy is going to make a massive improvement to our squad. And unfortunately, we're still here now, 19th of August, coming into our second Premier League game of the season. And it still hasn't happened. But yeah, pray it happens.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. I'm guessing then for you guys, what would change the mind on the proactive versus the reactive would be if Maddison had stayed fit and Eze had still come in. That type of thing, right? That would have been, because in a way, Stell is right. Listen, whilst I love Eze and God, I want this guy to come in more than anything, it is still the point where we are essentially replacing a playmaker with a playmaker. We have replaced Son at the moment with Kudus. I know they're on different wings, but we've replaced one winger who's a star man with another who's now going to be a star man, right? It's not that we've gone, right, we've got Son in his peak. Now we're going to get a top right winger who's in his peak at the same time. It feels, now I might eat my words. They might do that in the next couple of weeks, but I want to use that to move on to Savio, because I think this one's interesting. We're hearing a lot of different stuff. Before I do, first of all, big up to Somebody Savor Me, which is the artist formerly known as Lubo Her Up. also formerly known as Mr. Pox Office. So big up to you. Obviously got a lot of time on your hands and money. So thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate that. Big up to Blaine Dev, always very generous with the super sticker. Thank you. Really appreciate that, Blaine. And hopefully we've got some good news tomorrow for you, Blaine. I've got a feeling it might be tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see. Big up to you, mate. Really appreciate that. Andy Lester said, evening, Sava. I'm just worn out by the saga. Yeah, listen, I'm aware that YouTubers like me don't help, but at the end of the day, we all need group therapy, and that's what I'm offering here. I should start charging, but thank you very much, Andy. Really appreciate that, my man. And big up to Big Country Chris, who said the Don should be all over Lookman by now. Look, names like Lookman will be talked about. Premier League experience. He's from London. He's actually from down the road where I am. He's from London, wants to leave Atalanta. Inter Milan looks like it's completely fallen through. For me, a bit of a no-brainer, but hey, it's not about what I think. It's about, does Thomas Frank see him as a Thomas Frank type footballer? But big up to you, Chris. Really appreciate that. Everybody else, please do smash the like button. Please, it is very, very late. We are giving you a nice bit of entertainment. There are only 358 likes, nearly 1,000 people in here. So please do smash that button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, as we're 10 away from 21.7k. So please do. And no, Romano did not say, here we go.
So I didn't know you could read out.
Mate.
I just want to quickly address a few comments in the chat who are questioning that we aren't reactionary. So I'll just do it very quickly. So Maisie, you're saying if we sign Savio, who's that to replace? Well, Timo Werner. He's a left winger that we had for a year and a half. He's now gone. Someone else, I think Jordan or Lily White, was saying how we were going to sign Gibbs White when Maddison was still here. Yeah, because Kulu's out. Kulu's out for half a season. So these are reactionary signings. These aren't this isn't building the squad. So I do believe that. I do believe we're a reactionary football club. I don't, for every player that comes in, you can identify a player that's either left or who's injured for a long period of time. It's not because we're actually trying to build a really good squad. Maybe over time we will build a good squad. If Frank's here for the next 2-3 years, maybe we will. I hope we do. But I don't think we're currently bringing in players to build. I think we're bringing in to replace.
Well, look, let's be fair. Let's see in the last 2 weeks, if they go and sign 2 or 3 top players, we can all say fair enough. And then Kulu's back. Suddenly it looks a bit healthier. But I do think Stell's got a point on that.
Yeah, I mean, the prime example stuff would be, the prime example of building would be going out and, let's say, Hincapi, right? If they went out and signed Hincapi, to me, that's building, because that's not replacing someone that, that's proactively thinking, look, there's a good chance Van de Ven might get injured for a few months this season. We might need a left centre-back cover. Gives us an option if we want to play 3 at the back. Guy can also play left back. To me, that's building on what you've got to really thicken the squad depth, rather than just being reactive, to Stell's point.
Maisie, please calm down. First of all, when I invite my guests on, yeah, I do so they don't get paid. They're giving up their evening. So please, all this stop talking BS. It's okay. Okay. Only I'm allowed to be rude.
Savio is for Werner, Maisie. Werner was at this club for a year and a half. He's gone. Who's replacing him? And don't say Tell, because we brought in Tell whilst Werner was. In fact, Tell came in when Werner got injured.
See, I'll disagree slightly with you on this one, Stell. What I think it will be, if Savio comes in, Savio is the Son replacement and Tell is the Werner replacement. Eze is the Maddison replacement. And Kudus would then be the only one that's actually, Kudus and Paulinho would then be the only 2 that are actually add-ons, if that makes sense. But you could argue that, we needed a proper right winger. So
look, I'm happy to concede that. Right? Whoever's replacing who doesn't bother me. The fact is,
sure.
We only bring one in because one's gone out. We're not actually bringing one in because we're building. What I want to see Spurs actually do is get rid of all the rubbish, the Tells, the Reguilons, the Ben Davies, all these types of players that, you're not really at it and you shouldn't really be here. One of the strikers, we've got 2, in my opinion, average strikers. Get rid of them and then bring in quality. And then I'll say we're building because we're replacing really bad for really good. Then I'd say, right, this is more like it. We're building a proper team here. When we're keeping the Ben Davies and we're keeping the Tells, I'm thinking, hold on, we're not building. You know, we're just doing things like we've done in the past. If we do sign Eze and we do sign Savio, then I'll say we're not building, but the replacements are much better than what we were used to, which is a good step in the right direction. Because it'll be the first time we've signed a lot of experienced, proven players. That's still a good thing because I've not seen that before at Spurs. If we sign proven talent, I've not seen that at Spurs. So that's a step in the right direction. I'll give them that. I'll give them that. I'll say, do you know what? Fair play. You're actually signing some real players now, which is a good thing. We need it.
So let me ask. Let me start with you, Connor. Listen, I think we will get Eze tomorrow. I mean, I don't know if by this point I'm in pure delusional mode, or whether or not I'm just going by that because of Palace playing on Thursday night. I don't know if that, but Savio is an interesting one, Connor. Savio, again, depending on what report you read, lots of reports are saying it's dead, it's done. There's the Man City CEO or the Man City director doesn't want him to go. Other reports saying, well, no, this is still on because they still want Rodrigo and it could still be on, but it's difficult and complicated. Where are you at with the Savio deal?
Look, it was one that came out of the blue a little bit for all of us. No one would have highlighted Savio, I'm sure, at the start of the window as someone we should be targeting for our left wing, right? So, you know, it's not like the Eze one, right, which was one that the fan base has been speaking about for years, and with the release clause was an obvious deal for us to do. Look, I really want Savio. I think he gives us real dynamism on the left wing. I think he will. I think he'll really thrive for us as well in a way that maybe he's been hamstrung a little bit at City in the way that Pep likes his wingers to play, and obviously playing him on the right rather than the left. So, and it does sound like the player wants it, you know. And the one thing I have been happy about, at least if you are to believe the rumours, is that comments about Tottenham's perceived pull in the market, I think, have been disproved a little bit by the fact that players like Eze, Kudus, Savio, and I know they're not the top tier, but at least they are that second tier that we've always been talking about that we should be able to attract. Clearly want to come to us, so that's been good to see. I'm not sure it will happen. I think it's a difficult deal, to be fair to the club. I think it's I think, you know, City again have leverage. It's the end of the window. You know, it's not a player they necessarily want to sell. They can ask for a lot of money. They may or may not be upset with us over the way that we've dealt with them in the past. We know. And look, I don't necessarily blame Levy for the Kane deal because the offer that City made for Kane was derisory. But Levy has been one of the most outspoken advocates in terms of the Man City 115 charges and stuff as well. So, you know, is that coming into it a little bit? I don't know. So we'll see.
He definitely offers us something we've not got, right? He definitely offers us something that none of our players have got, right? That direct. He's got flair. He can beat a man. I mean, he beats men for fun. It's not, you know, there's no problem on that side. I mean, Stel, you obviously we can look at his goals, etc. But let me ask you this, Stel, right? You know what we're like in this fan base, and we're all the same to a degree. Before the name Savio was mentioned, right? Whenever you did shows, not you, I mean all of us, no one said, you know, you go, who would you want on left wing? Oh, I want Matoma. Oh, I want this player. I want Fofana. No one mentioned Savio, right? Now all of a sudden Savio's name is mentioned. It's kind of like, oh my God, if we don't get Savio, it's the end of the world. There's other wingers out there, right? There are other options to Savio.
Yeah, I think no one mentioned Savio because no one believed we could sign a really good player from Man City. Why would they leave City to come to Spurs? Right, that's kind of the mindset we've got. Savio would be a really good player for us. If he's the Savio from Girona, I think he'll be a brilliant player for us. I wanted him before he went to Man City. He stood out in La Liga. He's an excellent dribbler of the ball, and his passing's top notch. Better than anything we've got on the left, better than Odebert, better than Tell, better than any academy player we've got, better than any random player that we would put on there, better than what I saw from Brennan Johnson on the weekend on the left, although Brennan Johnson does score goals, I'll give him that. Savio for me would be a really good signing. But yeah, there's loads of other players. Look, the one I've always wanted for the last couple of years, and the one that we don't even bid for him, no surprise, and I think he'd be an excellent player for Tottenham, is Mitoma. I think Mitoma's such a top footballer on the flank. He's a quality footballer, man. I'd
he
love
destroyed
Mitoma.
us twice this year, didn't he, Mitoma? He destroyed us.
Not enough people talk about him. And see, I always look at clubs like Brentford or Palace or Brighton, these clubs, because I feel no matter where we finish in the league, what's going on, we're still an upgrade from where they are. Brighton to Spurs is a big step up. So is Brentford to Spurs, so Palace to Spurs. When you come to Spurs from those clubs, it's a step up. I don't really look at the Newcastles, Chelseas, Arsenals, Uniteds and say, right, let's look at their players. Because I don't believe in my heart they'd leave those clubs to come to us. I just don't see it. Unless they're absolute rubbish and those clubs don't want them anymore, then we don't want them. But all the clubs below us, there's not one club I think we should be scared of saying, look, we want your player. And they'd say no to us. I don't think one club would say no to us if we match the price. But yeah, there's loads of wingers out there. There's loads of wingers that are good. Mitoma's always been my favourite, though. He's the one I'd love at Spurs.
Well, I mean, this is his data MB for a winger. That's bloody quality, by the way. That is bloody quality. Yeah. And I mean, feel free to chuck the name of someone else that we can compare him against if anyone would like to.
Put Mitoma there. Let me just out of curiosity. What's that look like?
Compare him with Mitoma.
Yeah.
How old is Mitoma now? What's he, like 28, isn't he?
He's 28.
Yeah, he's older.
Yeah. So Mitoma, other than non-penalty goals, I mean, you can see that. This is why I want Savio. He's 21. But got 2 years playing in the top two leagues in Europe, right? In Spain and England. But look at it, everything. Look at the assists, the non-penalty expected goals, key passes, crosses, ball carrying, dribbles.
So what this says to me is Savio is better at creation, but Mitoma's better at goals, scoring goals.
Yeah. I mean, for this is for last season. I'll tell you what, I'd be interested to see. Let me see if I can find.
Savio wasn't in the Premier League last season, was he? So we can't really compare.
Let's have a look. So the green one is Savio from the 23-24 season. Look at that.
He scored a lot more in La Liga.
Look at that. I mean, look at that. That's ridiculous.
Look, if you were going to go for these two players, you would probably lean more towards Savio based on his age. There's a lot more development ahead of him. Whereas Mitoma, if you buy Mitoma, he's peaking. Like you're buying the finished product now. He's ready to go. There's not much development there. So it depends what you want. If you want a long-term purchase, you go Savio. If you want a quick 2-year in and out, you get Mitoma.
I think the thing is obviously Brighton turned down that offer from Saudi, didn't they, for Mitoma in January, which was sort of 70 million or something then, wasn't it? And for a 28, 29-year-old, that's quite a lot of money. That's the challenge. I don't think it would cost you 70 now, to be fair, but
the yellow.
If either came to Spurs, you wouldn't complain, would you guys? If either one of those two.
No, for sure. No. I like Mitoma as well.
Yeah, the yellow is Brennan Johnson. So
I mean that sums Johnson up, doesn't it? In terms of exact, I mean, right. The game on Saturday, he did absolutely nothing.
Goals.
Didn't impact the game at all until he scores that finish.
But as an attacker, if you're going to have one quality, it's goals.
True. Yeah, but the problem is, I think when you're out on the wing, though, all of those other qualities are what I would want from the wing. Do you know what I mean? But look, I'll tell you what I found interesting was when I was looking at this earlier. So if I remove that, do like some of these tools. If we look at, so this is Savio for the last year on FB Ref, right? So you can see here that, you know, there's a hell of a lot of green there. This is him in the last 3 years versus other attacking midfielder stroke wingers. We can then follow that up by, if you go to look, so all the things that he's really bad at, like tackles, interceptions, blocks. I mean, I wouldn't expect a winger to be that great at anyway. The non-penalty goals is obviously where this year he needs to work on. But if we then move that to versus midfielders, I mean, look at the look at the green. He's nearly in the 99th percentile for 10 different metrics. But the reason I wanted to show you this, see, this is Brennan Johnson. And I use this because this is the guy that people tell me he's got to play, blah, blah, blah. This is Brennan Johnson summed up in a nutshell. If you thought that was Connor. Look at that.
Yeah, but look at his goals.
No, sure. But when you're playing a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, the two guys that are not through the middle, you can't just have that as the attribute, right? They've got to be contributing with the dribbling and the crossing, because as much as we talk about goals, of course, they're bloody important. Wingers are meant to be taking players away. Wingers are meant to be doubled up on to create space. So hang on, just quickly. If you look at Man City, for example, what the wingers do at Man City is they always occupy two men, which allows for the runners, whether that's Foden or Savio, Foden or Silva or Gundogan, De Bruyne, whoever it's been, that's what happens. They don't have the wingers that have space to run into. What we need is wingers that can take people away to allow Solanke to be in the box, but also allow, if it's Eze or Bentancur driving forward, some space. And at the moment, we haven't got that. Other than Kudus, we haven't got that.
Let me ask you this. If we replaced Brennan Johnson with another player, okay, whoever it may be, where do the 20 goals per year that Johnson scores come from, though? Where do those goals come from? Because that would be my only concern.
We used to have these same conversations when there was chat about Kane going, and Kane was a much better all-round player, about, you know, who will score the goals. And then in the following season, we scored more Premier League goals than the year that Kane was there, you know. So I think
but that's because we brought in Johnson.
The whole sum of the parts argument, isn't it?
Connor, but we brought in Johnson. He got those goals. So now you're taking him out. Who comes in?
I would then just
I'm not against replacing Johnson, by the way. I'm not against him. There's much better players than him, right? Savage just.
So what I think would happen, Stel,
we need a goal scorer.
What I think will happen is, yeah, but Johnson got a lot of the goals because of the style of play that we set up in, right? So, for example, in the Ange system, you know, Solanke or Richarlison were never actually in the box. So I think you get more goals from whichever one of them plays. I think you're going to get more goals from Kudus because I think he'll do with him what he did with Mbeumo. He'll start getting him to drive more and more into the box, cutting in onto his favoured left foot. He'll get more goals out of Savio because Savio will go back to what he was like at Girona when he was cutting in from the left or taking men on and getting shots away. Plus, you've got Eze. If you get Eze gives you 10 Premier League goals, 11 Premier League goals. So I think once you start sharing those goals around, I think covering Brennan Johnson's goals, and you've got to remember, Brennan Johnson, I mean, was it 11 Premier League goals he got?
Yeah, and 5 the season before in the league, you know.
Right. So he was our top goal scorer last season, is all I know. I don't know
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is 11 Premier League goals can be that. I mean, all of that could be taken away immediately by Eze if he comes in. You know, now
if you could have set pieces, you'll score 11. Right. You know,
right. So just quickly, I thought this was interesting, guys. Right. So I just compared Savio to Rodrigo. Right now, bearing in mind Rodrigo, and by the way, this is Savio last year and Rodrigo last year. This isn't Savio the year before. So everyone raves about Rodrigo, but look at this. Other than the non-penalty goals for last year, look at Savio's stats. Look at his output.
Do you know
that is frighteningly good?
Do you know what this all shows me? Right, this all shows me if we sign Savio, we need to sign another goal scorer because we're going to bring into the club someone with massive creation, lots of assists. He's going to cause problems, but he just doesn't put it in the back of the net. We're going to need someone.
But he did until last season.
Hear me out. If you signed Eze as well, who does get the goals like you explained, and you've got one of our strikers in form, suddenly Savio's shit hot. He's shit hot because he's feeding people that are going to put it in the back of the net. But if you bring him in and not someone else that scores, we're now praying that he finds his goal scoring form of when he was playing for Girona.
Yeah, but the difference is when he was playing for Girona, he was on the left wing and not the right. When he was playing for Girona, he wasn't playing up against 10 men behind the ball every single week. I think you've got to factor that in. If you look at Man City's wingers, they are playing against 10 men behind the ball all game, every game. You won't have that at Spurs. If you look at the number of times at the weekend, the ball goes out wide to either Kudus or Johnson. Kudus got the ball loads of times, makes shit happen. Brendan Johnson gets the ball, nothing happens. Now imagine that's Savio with that space to run into. And one of my favorite phrases whenever I was playing or coaching was, you've got grass to run into. It was always, you've got grass to run into. And it was one of my big bugbears when fullbacks had grass to run into or midfielders and they'd give it to someone 5 yards away from them. It's like, you've got grass. And I think, listen, each to their own. I just think Savio would be amazing. And by the way, I'm just looking at Leao. I've added Leao to that as well. And Lookman. There's some really interesting data here. There really is.
You see, I just want to push back a little bit on that. Johnson still scored 11 goals, or maybe a little bit more. Someone can find out the exact number, but I know he scored
11 in the league. It was
when he was at Forest under a different manager and a different system. He scored goals there as well. So, and he's already scored one this season with a different manager and a different system. So, I actually listen, guys. I want to make it very clear. I don't rate him as a footballer. I can't stand watching him play. He does my nutting. When I see him in the starting lineup, I'm getting agitated. But he puts the ball in the back of the net. He did it at Forest. He did it.
Yeah, he scored 8 at Forest. 8.
But do you want him in your starting lineup for a team in the Champions League?
No, I don't. But if he puts the ball in the back of the net and he keeps that up, it's a difficult thing just to dismiss him, is what I'm trying to say here, guys. He does score goals.
I'm not dismissing him, but I think this is one of those, right?
Don't like him as a player. He does fuck all for 88 minutes. He does fuck all.
I think he's one of those that I think everyone will wake up to this as to how average he is when we finally sign a quality player that plays instead of him. This is like, there were not you, so, but look how many people when we signed Kudus, how many people in the chat were going, but look at his GA, look at his GA. It was like, no, you're looking at his GA for 1 year in a really bad West Ham team that had 2 different managers and were awful. Look at him before that, top player. But now everyone's like, oh my God, how much better is he than everyone else in our squad? Well, yeah, because, like, by the way, this is, people have been asking me in the chat for Adeyemi. So that's Adeyemi versus Savio. So that's Adeyemi's in green.
Savio beats everyone except on goals, is basically what we're seeing. Right?
From last year.
Last year,
yeah.
Well, maybe Thomas Frank develops Savino's game back to the Girona days and gets him being that goal scorer. Maybe, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think the thing with for me, just going back to that very quickly, is 11 league goals is his best tally, I believe, in the league. That's not enough for me to completely compromise on any impact he makes in the rest of the game. If he was scoring, you've had years with Son where Son's scoring 17 to 23 in a year and impacting the game more anyway. But if he was getting those sort of numbers, then you might be able to make the argument, I think. But 11 league goals is still not great. That I think you compromise on impacting the rest of the game.
If he wasn't impacting the rest of the game, but he was knocking in 20, you turn around and go, I got it. But for me, you've got to look. I think we've got to ask ourselves the question. Back in the day, when you had strikers that would do this, like a Lineker, for example, you always had a big man, little man. So you could say, well, look, the big man's doing all the work. He's doing all the flicking on and the bullying, and the wingers are crossing. But if this guy doesn't do anything but put the ball in the net, we're happy. The problem is Brendan Johnson's doing it from a position that isn't centrally. So we saw on Saturday, I mean, Estelle, I think we talked about this the other day. I think you agreed. We agreed on this.
He did nothing.
That game, if anyone could say, describe Brendan Johnson to me in 90 minutes, just watch that game. That is Brendan Johnson. I didn't know he was on the pitch. Didn't know he was in the team. Should have been subbed off at halftime. Popped up with a nice finish. That's fine. But you've got to think, look at all the games where he's not scoring. You've now got a guy who's offering nothing. You've now got a guy where the right back or left back, whichever wing he plays on, is sitting there with a cigar going.
Do you know what? If we sign Savio, he has to start ahead of Brendan Johnson, as would Mitoma, anyone of that level. They have to. They're better players. But I would probably keep Brendan Johnson as an impact sub if you need a goal, 20 minutes to go. We need an equaliser. We need a winner. I think he could be that player for us, perhaps, and just play him in the Burnley games and against those bottom teams where it's a bit easier, and just do that. I mean, would you be happy if we just held on to him as a sub to come on if we need a goal?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Here's one for Sean. Sean asked for this. Sean, you asked for Gordon, Garnacho, and Lookman. There you go. So in the purple, you have got Anthony Gordon. In the green, you've got Garnacho, and in the red, you have got Lookman. I mean, this is why, by the way, when people tell me
Garnacho's a waste of money, man. Look at that.
The thing is, do you know what? Up until he turned 20, he had the third best stats of any young player in the world, of any teenager in the world. I think a proper manager unlocks him. I think he's talented. I'm not saying we're going to get him. I know he's going to Chelsea. I think he's talented with the right coach.
He's inconsistent. I find Garnacho very inconsistent as a player.
Sure, he's only 20, right? He's only
young. He's young.
I mean, I just think there's a lot of talent. I think he's very talented on the ball. But the interesting one here is Gordon versus Garnacho, the green versus the purple.
Not much.
Interesting. Just interesting. Lots of people asking for comparisons. We can do this with any position, by the way.
Do you know what it is? You look at stuff like this, and in your head you're thinking, well, Newcastle finished top 6, Man United finished 16th, So you kind of just assume the players are crap. But you do get good individuals in shit teams. Maybe Garnacho was a good individual in a shit team. Maybe he's one of those. I don't watch him enough, but when I've seen him, I find him inconsistent.
I think that's the thing sometimes with these other teams still, isn't it? I mean, we watch Tottenham week in, week out, right? And so we know when players are being very specifically misprofiled or whatever else. Whereas with some of these other players, you see snippets, don't you, throughout the season.
Yeah,
do you know what? I wouldn't want Garnacho at Spurs, and I'll tell you why. Because I think it's a punt. I think it's another punt. I don't want another punt. I want someone that's proven who's doing it right now.
I agree.
Just because we've got so many punts at the club, right?
I agree.
We've got so many. It's like, no more, please.
Yeah, but that do you know what? That's exactly where I am. Just even right this window. That's why I've said I'd be really happy if Spurs ended the window with Paulinho, Kudus, Savio, and Eze. I can't be unhappy. I cannot be unhappy, and I truly believe that would be the best window we've had for
ever.
Best Premier League window
ever. When has it been better than that?
Yeah.
When is it? Honestly, when has it been better than that?
It'll be our best window under Enoch for sure.
Everyone asking me to keep comparing players. I can't spend the whole show comparing footballers on DataMB.
Saga, why don't you post the link to that website? Then people can go on their computer and they can compare themselves all day long. They can have a look.
There you go. So when I post this in, here you go. I'm putting it in there now. It will say wingers. It will take you to comparing wingers. Just at the bottom of the page, just change to defenders, goalkeepers, whatever you want to do. You can't compare a defender with a striker. Just so you know, that's not quite how it works. But there's some interesting stuff. It was like when we were comparing like Van der Ven and Romero and Hincapi and all these sort of things. It's very interesting what you see. Like, do you know what? I'll tell you what, I'll do it actually. I'm going to show you this, right? This is when people were going, oh, I wouldn't want Hincapi. Right? Have a look at this. People were going, I wouldn't want Hincapi. Oh, Van der Ven's much better than Hincapi. So I thought, okay. By the way, I'm not saying this is the be all and end all, but I do think it gives you a good understanding. And obviously, I completely understand.
Because obviously you got to overlay the league comparisons and all of that type of stuff. And
of course, and who they were playing for.
Yeah,
it's a nice reference point. So this is what happened when I compared Hincapi and Mickey Van der Ven. And
that doesn't surprise me.
And look, again, I'll ask the question, is a lot of this because of the wide open system that we were playing in under Range? I mean, it's hard to tell, but what you do notice is when you compare a lot of defenders to Romero and Van der Ven, they are much better aerially and in defensive duels. But where Van der Ven and Romero are much better, it tends to be with the ball playing and the progressive passes, etc., etc. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of 25-26 how different Romero and Van der Ven's graphs are compared to them playing under Range. But look, Hincapi's a good player that people get telling me, oh, why would you want him? I don't know. Guys, listen, I don't want to go on and on and on tonight. I'll be honest, from earlier, I was kind of hoping that there might be some news and we might get something, but it's not come to pass. But look, let me ask you one last question each. But before we wrap up, what's the absolute bare minimum for both of you? I'll start with you, Connor. What's the bare minimum it's the 19th, the window shuts on the 1st. What's the bare minimum Spurs have to do for you to turn around and go, I'm comfortable as a fan. I'm comfortable with what we've just witnessed?
The bare minimum is Eze plus a left winger who doesn't necessarily have to be Savio, although for all the reasons we just discussed, I'd like to be Savio. But if it's not Savio, it needs to be someone who is of quality. So if it's a Lookman, for example, I'll be comfortable with that. But yeah, a 10 and a left winger. Ideally, the absolute cherry on the cake would be then to get another sort of, if you've got a Hincapi or another fullback cover, or someone who can play left centre back and left back, for example, that would be the absolute cherry on the cake. But the minimum is Eze plus a left winger, because I just think our attack is where we really need to revolutionise.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Stel, bare minimum for you to be comfortable. Everyone in the chat, join in. Let me know in the chat. I'm guessing I'm going to see a lot of this. But
well, a number 10 is the absolute minimum. If it's not Eze, then you've got to go and find another top draw 10. Because we can't go from Eze to some random like Hackney from Derby County, for example. I'm not doing that. And either a left winger or a number 8, a proper ball playing number 8. Either, I don't care, because the way I look at it is this: if you get the left winger, then Frank has to develop one of the young players, whether it's Saar, Bergvall, Gray. I don't care who. You've got to develop one of them. If you get the 8, then you've got to develop one of the left players, whether it's a winger, whether it's Johnson, Odobert, Tell, I don't care. Yep. I think Frank has got to develop at least one player in a position we're not going to sign a player for, whether it's the 8 or the left winger. So if I could pick, I'd pick the left winger and the number 10, because I think there's enough midfielders there for Frank to develop at least one of them. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. That would be the minimum. If we got 3, I mean, blimey, we're in dreamland, aren't we?
Yeah, it's I just saw a comment I thought was quite interesting. I don't know if not this one. Sorry, where am I? So many comments. Somebody said I can't remember what it exactly said, but it was like, let's be honest, if at the beginning of the window someone said we were going to sign these three, we'd be, oh, here we go. No one can say at the start of the window, if we got these three alone, we wouldn't take it. Everything else is even more cream on the cake. Chris, I think what you've got to understand is what we were talking about earlier. If you're saying that we're bringing Eze, Paulinho and Kudus alone, two of those are just replacing players that have left, i.e. Son and Maddison, who's injured. So what you're essentially saying there is we've gone in with the same squad, but with a holding midfielder. Like if we're going to be brutally honest, that is what will happen if we only sign those three players. You replaced Son with Kudus. So what you've done is weakened the left but strengthened the right. Right? You've lost Maddison and put in Eze, and you've added Paulinho. So essentially all you've done there, Chris, is added a DM. Now, I'm not looking to belittle that. Had we added those three on top of what we had, yes, but it swings and roundabouts. You can't just say if you replace players that have gone that you've strengthened. So for me, I don't quite agree with you. Guys, just quickly, I mean...
Also, with this, at the start of the window, we didn't know what City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United were going to do, and they've all gone pretty big. Right, look at Man United. Cunha, the Spanish striker, and then Bueno. Right.
Yep.
Look what Arsenal have done. They've got in a wide man. They've got Gyökeres. They've got Zubimendi. They're still looking for another player. Look at Man City. Look at Liverpool. Like they're the teams we're supposed to be competing for the Premier League and the Champions League that Levy said we're going to compete for. So at the start of the window, everything changed when those clubs went big. It changed everything. Chelsea and that's with 8 players again.
Yeah, and that's with that massive gap that we need to close after finishing 7th, 8th, and you know, with the context of hiring a new manager who wants to implement his way of playing, you'd expect the first window to always be big anyway. And getting that golden ticket, as I said earlier, of Champions League money, you know, we're now 6 years into the stadium revenue coming through as well. I mean, this window had to be a huge window for us. So I think, again, this comes into, I think we've all been conditioned into, you know, stating that 3 starting 11 players is a amazing window for us when actually we needed to do so much more.
And again, Chris, you've kind of summed up my point, mate. If we're saying that Son wasn't great last year, then we needed a player in that position anyway. Do you know what I mean? Either way, Son has gone and we've replaced with, at the moment. Now, I'm not saying that can't change. And by the way, my mate's back. Said Maddison isn't gone. What do you mean? Well, he's gone for the year. He's gone for a season, mate. When big clubs lose players for a season, they have to move. They have to move. Like, even if you look at it, even when Man City lost Rodri, the first available window, they went and bought in Nico Gonzalez. First available window. This is what the bigger clubs do, Luz. You lose a player, you've got to replace. But that doesn't mean that we've added to the squad. However, if you now go and add Eze, plus you go and get a Savio, now you're looking at, okay, Savio, Eze, Kudus, Paulinho. Now I'm looking and saying this is much stronger than last year. But I'll say it. I know many won't agree with me. I think the biggest signing we've made is Thomas Frank. I think alone that's the biggest signing we're going to make in terms of getting up that league. Whether we talk about a squad being stronger or not. Look, fine lines, guys. I'll end it on that. It's fine lines, right, between a good window and a bad window, and stronger squad or not stronger squad. Right now, what I'm seeing is a much stronger squad defensively, but much weaker offensively. That I think that changes if Savio and Eze come into the team, though. So fine lines, right? Very fine lines. Guys, girls, I'm going to leave it there. Look, it is what it is. We go again tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow is the day that surely there can't be any more that needs to be added onto this deal. Honestly, I feel like we're trying to take Mbappe from Real Madrid with the amount of negotiating that's going on. Thank you, Stel. Thanks for joining in. Really appreciate that. Thanks, Connor. Always nice to have some good conversation. Just before we go, I thought this might be interesting for anyone that hasn't seen it. You all saw that Alexander Isak earlier released a statement basically saying that promises have been broken. First of all, footballers, stop doing gentlemen's agreements. Stop it. Stop it. It makes all this pain go away. Stop it. Get it in a contract. Newcastle United have said this in response. I thought this was quite interesting. Newcastle United, hopefully you can see that, guys, has said, we are disappointed to have been alerted to a social media post by Alexander Isak. We are clear in response that Alex remains under contract and that no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave Newcastle this summer. We want to keep our best players, but we also understand players have their own wishes and we listen to their views. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take into consideration the best interests of Newcastle United, the team and our supporters in all decisions, and we have been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. We do not foresee those conditions getting met. This is a proud football club with proud traditions, and we strive to retain our family feel. Alex remains part of our family and will be welcomed back when he is ready to join his teammates.
So is Isak suggesting there was a gentleman's agreement? I've heard that before.
I tell you what, we were talking about this earlier. I know we're going to end the show, but we were talking about this earlier. I was on with the guys from Loaded Mag, so the Newcastle show. You might have seen Pete. He goes on Sky Sports representing Newcastle. I was talking to him and I said, do you know what I'd love, guys? Not because I'm on the show with you guys. I would love Newcastle to turn around to Liverpool and go, nah, doesn't matter how much you give us. Nah, right now, nah. Tell you what, Alexander, you're in a World Cup year. Do you want to say a few apologies and you want to be welcomed back into the squad? You want to score 25, 30 goals for us? Cool. That's what I'd love to see. I would love to see that because I think that his behavior shows, by the way, guys, whenever I'm debating people and they go, oh, if so-and-so really wanted to leave, they do anything they can to kick up a fuss and put in a transfer request. Doesn't always mean you're getting your move. It doesn't always mean it, does it? So, I don't know.
I think the problem is two things. I think Newcastle's owners are rich enough to do that in theory, but they're not going to when there's an 120, 130 million pound asset that massively changes their picture from a PSR perspective, right? If they sell him. And then the second one is this whole, it's too late to get into it now, but this whole FIFA Article 17, whereby Isak can threaten to terminate his own contract and pay damages to Newcastle after August the 26th. So there's this 5-day period whereby he could threaten to pay, basically rip up his contract and pay the damages to Newcastle to force for a move. It was basically off the back of the Sana Diarra case. But yeah, look it up. Article 17 is with FIFA.
But
so we'll
in
see
a way,
how this one plays out. But
Connor,
I think
don't
it'll
you
end
rate
up
it a
going.
little bit? Don't you rate? I kind of rate it a little bit that Newcastle are not bowing down to one of the big boys and just being like, "Nah, he's not going. He's our player." I kind of rate it a little bit. I do rate it. I don't know, just me. Still,
I do, but I think he will end up going. I do think he will end up going.
Do you reckon he goes in the last 13 days?
It will be between August the 26th and the end of the window. Is my
for how much?
Guess. 120.
Do you reckon? Still, do you think he goes? Do you think he stays? Because surely Newcastle will look really silly now if they say that, you know, that's not happening, and then they sell him in the next 13 days.
I think he stays, but during the course of next year, they'll identify a replacement for the money that they're going to get in for him. So I think he stays one more year. It's a bit like Harry Kane. He'll stick around a little bit longer, but then he will go. He will go. I think he stays this season.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, guys, listen, thoroughly enjoyed that. Thanks. Always like a good little football chat in the evening. Guys, I'll be back in the morning for the morning show. We'll see what shenanigans happens between now and then. Something will happen. I can assure you of that. Thanks, Del. Thanks, Connor, as well. Really appreciate you guys. And everybody, listen, sometimes don't always mistake frustration for negativity. Sometimes people are just a bit frustrated. And deep down, we all want good signings. So take care. And as always, no. Phil P. Big up Phil P. He's Frank the Tank. Let's go streaking to the quad. What a great film that is. What a superb film Old School is. Superb film. Thank you very much, Phil. And by the way, this man, when he was at my house the other week, just dispatched of a 95% shot as though it was nothing, and then did another one. And it's the reason I say a 95% shot, it's literally just called like alcohol. There's no name on it, as it hasn't got a spirit name.
You should have seen him in Bilbao.
He's an animal. He's an animal.
In the fan park. You should have seen. Oh my lord.
Anyway,
legend.
Much love, guys. Take care. Lots of people commenting. I've got a Spurs top on. Yeah, I was doing some filming. I had to wear something Spurs. That's why. Take care, guys. Much love.
Why did that come across like it was some kind of crime?
I don't, because I think it's that I say I'm never going to buy anything from the club shop and give Daniel Levy money. But the problem is when I'm doing all this work for all of these companies, they always say you've got to have something Spurs.
All right. Okay.
So I had to have something, right? I'm not, anyway, guys, girls, much love.
I get it.
Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.